Have you heard about this scam? This people...
I read it in the paper.
Store owner Aziz Amin says he only heard about the gold bar scam, making headlines across the country months after he sold 24-karat gold bars and coins to a Forest Hills wife and mother.
So another person has fallen victim to the gold bar scam that's been plaguing the country. Millions of dollars being scammed out of people that don't know any better. And if it's hard for you to believe that people can fall for something so crazy, believe it or not, it happens all the time. And today we're going to go over what happened in this instance and talk about some other scams with gold and silver online. So let's do it. But before we do me a favor, don't forget to like and subscribe and help us continue to grow. Are you looking to protect your future with physical gold and silver? SD Bullion's IRA program makes it easy to invest in precious metals while enjoying the tax benefits of an IRA. For more information, go to sdbullion.com/IRA, and thank you to SD Bullion for sponsoring my channel.
There is a new scam circulating that is worth its weight in gold. Victims are being convinced they have to back up their bank accounts with the precious metal, and the scammers are tricking victims into going and buying gold bars and then picking the gold up at their front door.
So basically, this scam involves scammers that convinced the lady that she needed to back her entire bank account up with gold coins, and she was scammed out of her entire life savings. So I first learned about this story from an email that was sent to me by a viewer of mine with a link to the video, as well as I found this article here on Eyewitness News in New York, ABC. And I want to go over and show you a couple of the things, or talk about a few of the things that really kind of stood out to me reading this article and watching the video. And by the way, I'll link both of these down below so you guys can watch them for yourself. But you know, they're tricking victims into buying gold bars and picking up the gold at their very own front door, which is scary to me to think that it's even something that you would ever do, is just give some random person on the phone your address and say, yes, I have gold here. But down here, you know, she was buying this gold from somewhere, right? And she bought it from a store owner named Aziz Amin, or I may have pronounced that wrong, I apologize. But basically, he said he only heard about the gold bar scam making headlines across the country months after he sold the 24-karat gold bars and coins to a Forest Hills wife and mother who got swindled out of her life savings. And right here, he did say that he said, what are you going to do with all this gold? And she said she was going to give it to her daughter. They asked him if he suspected anything. So you didn't suspect anything? And he said no.
The first purchase, May 15th, was $123,000, then $249,000. 10 10-ounce 24-karat bars a day later went up to $305,000. The grand total with the shoebox 20K in cash, $698,355.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and throw this shop under the bus. Maybe he really didn't feel like there was anything going on, but that is a lot of money for an elderly lady to come in and start spending on gold, even if she is just giving it to her daughter. I mean, who's to say her daughter's not scamming her? That is something that happens, and I know these were all paid via bank transfer. Maybe he should have at least contacted the bank and said, hey, something's going on here. We need to maybe look into it. But look, even here, this lady was warned to keep what she was doing a secret, which is a very common thing for scammers to do, because they know that if the person that they're scamming tells more people, they're probably going to get revealed and they won't get the money that they're trying to steal. They even told her that they were from the FTC. She was convinced by an imposter pretending to work for the government that her bank accounts were hacked and that she was being watched. And then here we go, and I quote, well, they were saying that I was under surveillance and that I could go to jail if I told anybody, and I can't even tell my own family that lives with me because they would be taken into custody. And if we scroll down just a little bit further, you can see that this happened for over 2 months. Over 2 months of emails, phone calls, and texts. Mrs. Rothman was manipulated, first draining her checking account. She was instructed to place $20,000 into a shoebox, go outside on the street and wait. She brought the money down on her street in front of her house. A car pulled up and she just handed that to them, put it in the back seat. Now, I know that it's unreal for me and you to think about ever doing that, or ever even telling somebody on the phone what our address is, no matter what, especially somebody that you don't know and can't confirm who it is. But this happens more often than you think. And the older generation is definitely primed to be taken advantage of, because you have to remember that they did not grow up with the internet. They did not grow up with internet scams and email scams and things like that. Unlike the younger generation, they are not used to it, and they can be easily taken advantage of as a result. And there absolutely should be checks and balances for people to look out for things like this to happen. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this lady should not be able to spend her money however she wants. She absolutely should. But whenever you see something really fishy or suspicious like this, maybe you should just do your due diligence and dig a little bit deeper and make sure that at least somebody knows what's going on. But that is not the only way that people are getting taken advantage of when it comes to gold and silver. For example, take a look at this. These are negative feedback posts from PMs for sale on Reddit. Now, PMs for sale on Reddit is basically a site where people can buy and sell with each other. And I'm not knocking that. That's great. I think it's awesome that people are able to buy and sell silver with each other, and gold for that matter, because that's the best way to save money. But there is the opportunity to get scammed. For example, look at this one right here. This happened with a buyer named Nick Inney, and we zoomed out of here just a little bit so that we could see it. But basically what happened here is he sent somebody, the seller, not Nick Inney, sent somebody a platinum chain worth over $2,700. $2,740 was the agreed price right here. He shipped it. He promised to pay in full the day of delivery or the next. The day of delivery, he said he liked the chain and was wearing it. The next day, he paid $1,000, only 36% of the total cost. He made excuses for 5 days to delay payment. When I sought advice from mods, he flipped out, demanded a return, and threatened to keep the chain unless I returned it. Unless I accepted the return, I should say. Then he goes on to say, I eventually agreed and provided return instructions and an address. Instead of providing proof of the chain's condition, he continued stalling and asking when he'd receive a refund. A mod offered to mediate the return as a neutral party and ensure fairness. I agreed to it. You/Nick Inney declined the mod's offer to mediate and has since stopped responding to me. He has now had the chain for 10 days and still owes me $1,740. And that's just one of countless issues that people have experienced when buying and selling between each other, especially when you're doing it on the internet. Now, I know that the Reddit's PMs for sale has trusted sellers, basically people that have done transactions, have been verified, but there's a lot of new sellers on there as well. And how hard is it to get started in there as a legitimate seller and a new seller when you have scammers like this that are taking advantage of people and making it hard for the trusted sellers or the people that are there to do legit business to want to trust a brand new seller? And it's happened to some of my viewers as well. So for example, this is an email that I got from one of my viewers. This is a couple of years ago now, but I wanted to share it with you because it's very relevant to what we're talking about. And he actually sent me this email because of my community post. But he said that he was part of a group on Reddit that got scammed for almost $100,000. And then he talks about the subreddit, PMs for sale, so on and so forth. He talked about the feedback system, users that offered a middleman transactions, etc. But getting to the story, the guy posted a pretty smoking sale post offering 1 ounce Buffalo's maples, 1 10th ounce maples, and silver maples for 45% over spot. He had some feedback already, so he seemed legit. So here we go. This is somebody who had feedback already and was trusted by some of these buyers. He says, I thankfully only bought 1 10th ounce gold maple. There are some people that are out $15,000. The guy also accepted crypto. Some crypto transactions can be traced. There's a small chance that they try and launder their money through an exchange with KYC, know your customer requirements, and that they can be identified. I'm not holding my breath though. This is all fairly recent. So here's the post from a little over a week ago. Keep in mind, this was over 2 years ago now as I'm reading this to you, but I will put the link for this post in the description below if you guys want to take a look and get more information as to what happened. Now, of course, there's also a major problem with fake silver and gold coins being sold online, and we're not going to deep dive into it in this video because we've covered it many times before, even recently, but take a look at this. This is a Facebook ad that is actually advertising 2025 American Silver Eagles released for the first time, limited to 2,025 pieces. And of course, in the little video, they're showing the 2024 Silver Eagle. And if we click on the link, we get taken to this website where they have Silver Eagles for just $19.99. And if you look here, it says if you get 100 pieces, you get them for $8.99 each. These, of course, are being shown as 2024 BU Silver Eagles, with all sorts of deals and sales and guarantees. And if we go to shop now on their page, you can see they actually are selling gold coins as well. Now, of course, that Facebook post, along with everything else that I showed you in today's video, is just a small drop in the bucket of the ocean of fake silver, gold and silver scams, so on and so forth, that are out there right now. And it's really unfortunate that gold and silver are used as a medium or as a tool to scam others. But it is a real thing. And so you have to be really careful. And if you are not 100% sure as to what you're doing, or if you're just getting into this, the best thing to do is make sure that you shop from a reputable source. Now, that can be your local coin shop that's been around for a long time. Maybe they'll test it in front of you. You can walk in, give them the cash, walk out with your gold and silver, and you know that it's real. Maybe it's shopping with some of the big online bullion dealers. There's a lot of good ones out there and legitimate ones. SD Bullion is one of them. They are my channel sponsor. They're awesome as well. But whatever you do, especially if you're new into this, make sure that it's a legitimate source, like I just said. Now, as far as the first article with the lady that got scammed out of $700,000 worth of gold and silver, share with them the scams that could happen. Sit down and have a talk with them so that they know that if something like that ever comes up, the FTC, for example, in that first one, is not going to threaten grandma and say that if you tell anybody, you're going to go to jail. That's not how that works. Make sure they understand that. And then if anything like that comes up to them, that they contact you so that you can step them through it and make sure that they are not getting taken advantage of. It's very important, you know, especially for the older generation, the people that weren't around tech, that weren't used to things like this when they were our age, when they were younger, that, you know, they have someone that they can lean on, and hopefully that's you, so that they do not get taken advantage of. So guys, that's what I had for you today. I hope that you enjoyed today's video and learned a little bit. If you did, do me a favor, go down below and make sure you're subscribed. I'd really appreciate it. We are on our way to 250,000 subscribers, and I'd love for you to be one of them. Other than that, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.